Okay, here we are. So it's live. I see people are logging in. We're going to give everyone a second maybe to join before we get started. Yes, I see people are coming online. Hello, everybody. Let's give another few seconds and then we can start. All right, well, maybe I can already speak a little bit about the procedure of today. So hello, everybody. My name is Nico Freitag. I'm working at TechnologyCatalogue.com. I will be hosting a little bit here, and I'm joined by Michael Boland today, CEO of Cygnus. And yeah, I see some more people are coming on. Good morning, everybody, or hello, wherever you are right now. Maybe a quick general information. The way it flows is that I will say a few things quickly about TechnologyCatalogue.com. Then I'm going to hand over to Michael, who's going to show us his presentation. We're going to have a Q&A at the end. And then I would like to ask you questions in the chat box. We will attend to them at the end. And at the very end, a few words from my side for farewell. There will be a wrap-up email in case somebody's wondering about the slides, the videos. Everything will be provided, and we will share this all with you shortly after this presentation. All right. So I think we are already here. Let me quickly get into this. I hope everybody can see my screen. So TechnologyCatalogue.com, this is us. So the idea where we were founded from was that it is quite hard to find technology these days because there's such an overwhelming amount of information and there's a lot of uncertainty and confusion, especially with COVID these days. So we went digital to solve this issue. And we like to say that we want to make finding technology in the energy industry as easy as finding a restaurant. And as you can see, provide access to all required support to it. So this is the idea what we came from. And we've partnered with NIRA as well for Australia, which is the most relevant, I guess, for today, to promote Australian technology. And we have one of them today here as well. So this is really what it is, what we do. We offer the chance to be introduced to new technologies without really having to travel. So I think that's a quick bit from us. And without further ado, I would like to hand it over to you, Michael. And I'm sure you're going to tell us all about the new Access software, which is a revolutionary game changer software in the field of asset integrity management. And I'm keen to hear about your software. To you.
Thank you, Nico, and hello, everyone. Today, I'm really excited to introduce a standout software that will change how you manage your safety critical assets. Many of you will know Cygnus from our work in asset integrity, maintenance and reliability, and process safety. We've been very fortunate at Cygnus. Over the years, we have worked with operators, contractors, certification and inspection companies. We've used most of the asset management softwares in the market. We've even experienced the frustrations of using them. We know what works and what doesn't work. Well, today, we're actually introducing three standout softwares. The first is an inspection management software for all of your safety critical assets. The second is a risk-based assessment module, a number of those. Third is a single solution to manage your anomalies. That's three things: an intelligent inspection system, multiple assessments, and a real-time anomaly management system. That is not three separate platforms. That is a single platform, and we're calling it Access. Today, Cygnus is going to reinvent asset integrity management software, and here it is. Well, actually, before I do that, I just want to talk about a few things. If we look at a Business 101 graph of software intelligence versus ease of use, you see at the bottom right-hand corner, you've got some of the inspection softwares. Now, what they do is they collect data digitally using custom forms, but they're not very intelligent. And on the top left, you have the asset management softwares. You'll see some of the usual suspects. Many of these are essentially reliability tools with an RBI module stuck on the back as an appendage. They are more intelligent, however, but people have real difficulty in figuring out how to use them. What we have done is developed a leapfrog software that is way more intelligent than the inspection software and is super easy to use. What Access does really well is uses the power of your inspection data to let you know that you're safe to operate. Now, I guess many of you operate in highly regulated, high hazard industries with products that can cause actual serious damage. The question for you then is, how do you know you're safe to operate? And what keeps you awake at night? Let's look what happened in the Husky refinery in Wisconsin in 2018.
At approximately 10 a.m., the hazardous mixture of air and hydrocarbons found an ignition source, and there was a large explosion. Debris from the explosion flew about 200 feet and hit a large above-ground storage tank, puncturing the side of the tank and releasing hot asphalt. Asphalt poured out of the tank over the containment berm and into the refinery's operating units, where it spread along the ground. At around 12:15 p.m., the released asphalt ignited near the storage tanks, and a fire broke out. The fire traveled along a stream of asphalt to the refinery's crude and FCC units. The fire produced a huge plume of black smoke, leading to the evacuation of a portion of the town of Superior.
Now that's not something you want to have to explain. So, how would you prevent something like that happening? Well, one of the things you must do is make sure your barriers are in good condition. What I mean by that is, if we use the barrier Swiss cheese model, we see hazardous activities are guarded against using multiple barriers. So long as failures are spread throughout the barriers, then the system as a whole will avoid an accident. It's only when the holes line up, like the holes in a Swiss cheese, that disaster strikes. Think Deepwater Horizon or Texas City. The thing about the barriers is that they deteriorate over time, and that's why you do your inspections. Now, you're going to collect lots of inspections to comply with regulations. So the thing about it is, how do you collect your data and how do you store it? Collecting data manually generates errors in the region of 20 to 30%. Storing it in a PDF means you can't trend or analyze it. It's dead data. What you really need to do is transform your data into wisdom and insight via information and knowledge. Now, another way of looking at that, of course, is that knowledge is knowing the tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is not putting it in a fruit salad. What the wisdom and insight that Access generates is your knowledge and condition of your assets, is your condition and risk of your assets. So what it does, what Access does really well then, is it automates and digitizes the working process to generate significant gains in efficiency. So now I want to just talk now about software. So the question then is, what do you think is the single biggest issue in getting easy adoption of software? It's the navigation. What we've done, or what we've designed in Access, is something that's responsive, versatile, and customizable. What makes it really versatile is the navigation. What people want is something that is more intuitive, guides the user, and increases accuracy. We're going to have people who will use Access not very often, and they expect something that's easy to understand every time they have to use it. We'll have people who will use it all the time, and they want something that's going to be highly reliable. We have done a great job in ensuring that the interface is all about the users. Now, what I want to do now is show you a short demo on Access's user interface and navigation.
Let's explore Access's user interface and navigation. When you first log in, you'll be presented with the home page with a map of your facilities. Assets are at the heart of Access and where we manage the inspection. A demo of how work packs, results are entered and reviewed, and how assessments are executed will be shown later on. The maintenance hierarchy is a mirrored version of the hierarchy located in the CMMS. It is updated automatically at a set interval and cannot be altered by the user. Depending on the asset type, asset hierarchies contain a list of assets and acts as an equipment register. The asset information page contains the details of the asset specific to the equipment type, such as the operating design, material properties, safe operating limits, and other details. Within the History tab, you can view the inspection history and trend the results. Additionally, you can review the integrity operating windows. You are also able to view the asset within the 360-degree view of the facility. This is an interactive, powerful tool that is useful for users where you're able to view external asset for access. Looking into the maintenance plans, these are assigned to the asset within the CMMS system and can be viewed by clicking on the See Details button. These are updated automatically and cannot be edited or deleted by the user. Access also shows all the work orders associated with the maintenance plans and are automatically updated according to your CMMS. The work order properties and indicators can be viewed via the See Detail button. These indicators can be edited for a specific task. However, this does not change the maintenance plan indicators and becomes a one-off event. The work order properties, work packs, the entering, reviewing, and viewing results will later be explored in the Access workflow. The inspection results can be viewed in two ways, either through inspection history and opening the indicator history, or through the work order using the View Result button. Next is the Work Management tab, where it acts as a shortcut for users to view your facility's work orders, notifications, and schedules. The Work Order tab acts as a shortcut for users to see which scopes are approved or which inspection results are ready for review. In the Notifications tab, you can easily view notifications that are open and where corrective action is needed. Lastly, your Scheduling tab is a direct integration from your CMMS, where you can view important data, such as inspections which have yet to be completed, scheduled work packs, and other assessments required. Using smart filters, you can extract information for non-standard searches or requirements through the use of asset properties. If users would need to view hazard levels, they are able to view all hazard level D equipment within their facility and have this exported to an Excel file. Users can also export the next inspection for assets that they have executed an RBI for. A great thing about Access is you have a snapshot of your asset's current condition and risks and identify any imminent trends through automated dashboards. These dashboards are completely customizable, where results are aggregated across the subcategories of planning, inspection, notifications, conditions, risk, and performance standards. Lastly, through the Administration tab, users can be added or removed.
Okay, so as you can see, it's very easy, just follow your nose. So I want now to talk about our first solution, and that's the inspection management. This is central to everything Access does. We've developed what we call an intelligent inspection system. So what makes it special? There are three things. The first is how Access communicates with the CMMS. So every 24 hours, Access does a handshake with the CMMS and looks for changes in the asset hierarchy, maintenance plans, work orders, notifications, etc. The second is the indicators. These are the indicators of what we're looking for, what you're inspecting. We've developed indicators for all the asset types in Access. And the third then is the state, or the actual condition is found. So it's either, what I mean by that, it's either good, not so good, bad, or very bad. How many times have you reviewed a 20-page inspection report and still scratching your head to figure out what is the state, what is the condition? You don't have to do that anymore. So let's now look at the workflow in Access. and see how easy it is to create work packs, enter and review results, and create reports.
Welcome to Axis Asset Integrity Management Platform workflow. We're going to show you how Axis can simplify your entire inspection process, from generating customized work packs to entering results within the software. Let's get started. Clicking on your desired asset takes you to the work order properties, work order indicators, and work order attachments. Before approving the scope of work, you would need to customize your work orders indicators, which includes NDT indicators if necessary. You can choose to either select or remove indicators through using the Select Indicators and Remove Indicators button accordingly. All that's left now is for you to approve the work scope. This can be done by clicking on the Approve Scope button, and the status will be changed to Scope Approved. The results can now be entered, and your inspectors to go on site using a tablet and key in data according to the work scope. The Enter Results window displays the indicator being inspected through choosing one of the 5 selections available, best describing the current condition. NDT specifications and measurement data can also be entered into the software. Inspectors can also attach documents and media directly to Axis, enabling it to be attached easily. You're also able to generate a hard copy version for offline use. If any immediate action is required, inspectors may raise notification to signal a pending action on an asset. This will then be added as a pending action. After inspection is done, the status of the work order can change to Results Ready for Review and Review Results, and both inspectors and engineers can finalize and review results, add a comment or summary, and sign and accept the finalized inspection reports, which Axis automatically generates for you.
Yeah, pretty impressive, eh? I don't think there's anything like that out there. So I will look now at our second software solution, that's the assessments, which are essentially risk-based. Yeah, traditional inspection methodology work on a fixed period basis. This can be effective, but there are many instances where a risk-based approach can be better by making things safer and saving money. It does this by prioritizing high-risk items and giving less attention to items of insignificant risk. Just want to talk now about where Axis uses the risk-based so much, a number of the risk-based assessment modules in Axis. There are a number that were further ones that are under development, but just want to talk about CUI, NII, and RBI now. So if we look at CUI, CUI is one of the process industry's most pressing problems in terms of forced shutdowns, loss of production, safety, and environmental issues. The highest incidence of reported leaks in the refining and chemical industries are due to CUI and not due to an internal corrosion. This is according to the US Chemical Industry Safety Boards. Why is this a problem? CUI is challenging to detect, and reliable inspections are expensive. So what is the solution? Well, part of the solution is to use the API 583 risk-based approach to identify equipment subject to CUI, prioritize inspections, and generate inspection plans to mitigate the risk. And this is what we've done in Axis. So this methodology is now in Axis. The second risk-based approach is non-intrusive inspection. Now, there are significant benefits in terms of safety, cost, and availability in not having to go inside a pressure vessel to do inspections. The difficulty, of course, is that finding a methodology that's robust and generally accepted by industry. The Hoysh recommended practice 103 is that is now the generally accepted methodology. The thing about it is pretty complex, especially the integrity review part and the decision-making process part. But we have solved that problem, and that is now in Axis, has now developed in Axis. The third risk approach is for RBI. I'm talking here about RBI for pressure vessels, piping, tanks, and PRVs. Our approach is a semi-quantitative approach. We do, of course, it's a fully quantitative approach for age-related damage mechanisms, and we differentiate between RBI for internal and external. This is a pretty practical approach, and it is in fact a distance or something similar. We believe is now used by most of the majors out there. So, what I want to do now is look at a demo of how an RBI is done on a pressure vessel in Access.
RBI in Access. Let's find out how we can execute risk-based inspection in Access. This is a rather straightforward process. Simply go to your desired pressure vessel in your maintenance hierarchy, asset properties, or enter the tag number in the search bar. You can copy damage mechanisms for cases such as equipment operating in parallel or assets with similar designs. For low criticality equipment, it may not be necessary for this assessment to be done, and will be shown as assessment not required. The risk-based inspection is divided into the external and internal assessment. Using this pressure vessel, let's start with the external assessment. You can see historical assessment results in the high-level summary page. This will be updated after our inspection is done. You can add a pre-programmed damage mechanism which is specific to the external condition of the asset. This is a short list of the common damage mechanisms. Choosing atmospheric corrosion, the likelihood of failure is chosen, taking into account the coating condition, coating age, temperature, and so forth. The consequence of failure is then selected. A table is used to visualize this risk ranking of the damage mechanism. Access will then automatically determine the inspection interval and the next inspection date. After completing the external assessment, mark the assessment complete to prevent accidental change. Now for the internal assessment for the same pressure vessel. Similar to the external damage mechanisms, a short list of both age-related and non-age-related internal damage mechanisms are presented. Nominating general corrosion, which is an age-related damage mechanism, we would be presented with two extra tabs, which are rates and confidence and indicators. Within Access, you can either use the design corrosion rate or choose to populate the data yourself. The current wall thickness, date, and design corrosion rates are added with the confidence factors, also filled in accordingly. If an indicator is already linked, the indicator will then populate the wall thickness measurement. If not, this can be populated by the user. If wall thickness is populated over time, then users can choose their long-term or short-term corrosion rate. The rest of the information is pulled in by Access in regards to the current asset data and operating conditions. Now, based on the given corrosion rates, remaining life, and confidence factors that were populated previously, Access calculates the likelihood of failure. You can choose to override this calculation, however, and user-defined likelihood of failure will not take into consideration of the remaining life and confidence factors. The consequence of failure is then selected. This will then produce the estimated internal inspection interval. The overall assessment's results are now shown in the summary page, with both the finalized external and internal assessment reports automatically generated in Access. For easy accessibility, it can also be seen under Documents. Lastly, with both risk-based inspections marked complete, the generated external and internal inspection dates now show up in the Work Management tab under Schedule.
Okay, you can see there how practical and integrated that RBI is. So moving on to our third solution, which is anomaly management. So your inspections have found problems. These have to be managed. I guess there are many names for that process. You know, you're familiar, I guess, with many of them. We've chosen to call it anomaly management because I think it probably best captures that process. Our experience is that companies have at least 4 systems to manage anomalies. And we found that even managing temporary repairs is often a full-time job. So it doesn't have to be like that. So what's required? If we look at the steps in an anomaly management system, I guess the key is the first 3 steps. In Access, the inspector identifies the anomaly, categorizes it, prioritizes it, and then sends it to the engineer for review. Yeah. Once it's in review, then the tracking of it then is found in the works management section, and that can be followed through to resolution of that anomaly. Access then acts as a single point of reference to conduct root cause analysis, and high-level reports can be generated in the dashboards. So I want to now show you, give you a quick tour. We've seen in the earlier demos some of the anomaly process. Just want to go through that again to show how it does. It's a real-time integrated system.
We are going to explore how you can use Access to execute anomaly management. We will start by revisiting how an anomaly is raised in real time during the inspection process. After the anomaly is identified, it is raised as a notification to signal corrective action. The notification has to be also entered in the CMMS. In Access, you would input the notification number, description, and priority. The notifications have now been prioritized. After the notifications are added and saved, it is now ready for review. The tracking of your anomalies is done on the Work Management tab on the left-hand side. In the Notifications tab, we can find out which notifications are open or which have pending corrective actions. This will be updated once every 24 hours with the latest status of the work scopes pulled into Access. If an action that was shown as corrective action to be confirmed to corrective action completed would mean that recently the inspection engineer has ensured that the corrective action is executed, results have been reviewed, and the notification that contained the task was closed. Access acts as a single point of reference for all departments to not only effectively track the progress of anomaly rectification, but also to provide data for root cause analysis and proactive measures. Access's intuitive dashboards also provide high-level reporting for the status of the anomaly.
I think you see how impressive that is from a real-time integrated system. So you've just seen how powerful, robust, and integrated Access is. I hope you've learned a lot about its capabilities. You're now at a point where you're continuing to do what you're doing. Continue with your spreadsheets, or continue with your limited, clunky systems, or you can use Access. Let me explain to you what it means to work with Cygnus and Access. Look, when you're working with Cygnus and Access, we're going to assist you in getting connected to the CMMS. We're going to load and migrate your data. We're going to get you up and running very quickly. Because this is a cloud-based subscription model, you're going to have lower upfront costs, you have the ability to scale, and you have instant upgrades. Access will provide a peace of mind by confirming that you're safe to operate because you know your condition and risk. It will provide confidence because you have clear visibility to how the data is being collected, to being able to report upwards. And when the regulator comes knocking in at the door, you will have confidence in providing the information to him, and he will have confidence that you're in control. And last but no means least, it will save you a pile of money, up to 80% of your inspection budget, a significant return on investment in year one, and that's not taking into account the assessment modules, which can extend your inspection intervals. Please do ring me, email me, if you want to discuss pricing, data migration, or go through a demo, any parts of the demo in a bit more detail. I'll hand back now to Nico for the questions.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. That was a very nice presentation. I see actually already the first questions coming in. First one is from Paul Steenkamp, who wrote, "Impressive. I really like the tight integration with the CMMS. However, with the module anomaly management, it said that the work order had to be manually entered in Access as well as in CMMS. Why?"
because it's not a two-way. We don't talk back to the CMMS. It's a one-way communication. People really won't allow you to access to communicate back into the CMMS. So that is the reason it's a one-way combination. We get the number. Access or the CMMS is your planning and scheduling tool. So that's the reason it can only be a one-way conversation or communication.
Right. And there's an immediate follow-up actually. Paul's also asked, can inspection results gathered in the field on, say, a tablet be uploaded into Access? Yes, we can do that. There is a number of ways of doing that, but the simple way of doing that is we download it onto an Excel sheet and import it back into Access. As long as we got the indicators that are defined, we can do that. Right. Maybe a quick follow-up from my side. You said that it connects to the CMMS. Does it also connect to SAP? Yes, it will connect to any CMS, so it can be SAP, Maximo, you name it, because it's done on the REST protocol. So that means the communication can be with it's agnostic. We can communicate with any system. Right. Okay. And I actually see a lot of questions coming in, so I'm going to keep myself short here. Paris Sultani asks, does your RBI comply with API 581? Well, for pressure equipment, we have deliberately stayed away from doing a quantitative RBI in accordance with API 581. That was a deliberate decision because there's so much data required, and in a lot of cases, you spend too much time chasing that data, and eventually you're going to have to make assumptions. So this is why we call it from a practical approach. We find this is really what's only going to work. And that's why we say most people are coming around to that way, except maybe you're in the refining industry and you have all of that data. But we haven't found anybody who's got that data or have the money and budget to find the data that's required to do it fully quantitative. Right. I hope that answers that question. A lot of more hours coming in. Rob Owen, excellent piece of software. Really like integration with CMMS. Can the system handle multiple asset types? For example, vessels, structures, and so on. Yeah, very, very easy. I think we have 6 asset types there at the moment. If we need to add more, as long as they are managed in the CMMS, we will generate the asset properties table and generate the indicators, and we can manage them. So the process will be the same as you've seen from the pressure equipment. The actual working process will be very similar. Right. I hope that answers the question, Robon. Yeah. Next question, Herman Krackelstein, I hope I pronounced it right. Can you import NDT data directly from, for example, a data logger? Yeah, I think that was probably similar to one of the earlier questions that yes, we can. We depended on the data logger. I believe we can, but the easiest way to do it, we just use an import sheet, download the data from a logger, and import it, populate that sheet, and re-import it back into Access. Right. Okay. So I hope that that covers that in combination with the earlier question as well. Okay, we're still having more questions coming in. Ravi Kumar Vakar, it's impressive tool and easy to use as compared. That's a nice compliment. And I noticed you mentioned IOVs. Can you explain how that will work? Okay, I think what he means is what he's talking there about the integrity operating windows. We mentioned them, but we didn't really go into it in any great detail. Look, the software will update the information similar to the CMMS with a handshake every 24 hours and pull in the data from the historian to bring it back into Access. So we will check the values there against set limits and see if they've gone outside the window. So yeah, that's probably the IRW is probably something for another webinar, but it is in Access and it's one of the ones we didn't spend a lot of time on today. But yes, it's a good question. So stay tuned. There will be a follow-up webinar. I can see. Yeah. Okay, and I think the last question so far I can see is from Hadeep Singh. Hi, Michael. Could you elaborate on Access compatibility with using handheld device-based reporting apps? Handheld device. I'm not sure I fully understand Hadeep's question. Right. I guess I presume he's talking there something similar to the data logger, where you're logging data. We either do a connection or we load it onto an Excel sheet and re-import it back into Access. I guess
because it's best the REST protocols, we can actually communicate with. We don't believe there's anything that we cannot communicate with. We just need to see which particular piece of software or which tool is, and we just do those connections. But the way that the software has been designed, we believe we can talk to everything.
Right. Okay. So I hope, Harit, that answers your question. If not, happy to follow up in the chat box on that.
Yeah, and if he wants to ring us and talk about it, happy to discuss that.
Right. So he just adds to it apps like those on iPads. So
yes.
Right. And okay, so we have another question from Herman Fries. So thank you for your presentation. Interesting to see the broad type of functionality in the integrated Nexus. Apologies. And question here is with regard to the registration of anomalies. When ILI inspection has been done on aging pipelines, the number of anomalies can be rather great. Is there a way to prioritize this early in the workflow?
Look, ILI, we haven't dealt with at the moment. We haven't dealt with pipelines and that type of anomalies from ILI. Is probably a different subject. We believe we can do it, but we certainly need to have a discussion with him around how that could be done. It's not something we've dealt with at the moment. It would be probably one of the next things we would develop. We've got a couple of more ones on X-rated equipment and safety instrumented systems. Onto ILI would probably something that will come after that.
Okay, so
it's one of the ones. It's on further development.
Right.
At the moment.
So stay tuned. Coming soon.
Stay tuned, indeed.
All right. Perfect. So from what I can see from the chat box, I think we've answered all the questions, I hope. Looks good. So yeah, I'm seeing a question about the contact details. Absolutely. We will also post the link on Technology Catalog to the Access software as well in the chat box. It will also be provided in the wrap-up email. You can find a nice quick overview over the whole solution, as well as the website, as well as contact details. I'm sure Daphne will also just post maybe the details or something here. We will make sure to answer all questions. You can respond also directly to us at TechnologyCatalogue.com. To the wrap-up email, we'll make sure that Michael gets all the context of the information, which is maybe still missing somewhere out there. So that's pretty much it. Maybe one last question I personally have is, so on site, how do you manage where there's no internet, for example?
Look, we have an app. So if you can download the software onto your app, and when you come back into the office, you can sync with the system and upload your data.
Okay, great.
Straightforward.
Very straightforward.
So we've covered all options there. We've covered all options. You can even take a hard copy if you're old-fashioned to sign. You can have internet connection, or you can use an app. So yes, all the options are there.
It's all out there. Okay, great.
Yeah.
I think we've answered all the questions from the chat box. My questions are all answered. I really enjoyed this presentation. We will send all the important information, content, slides, videos, and so on via wrap-up email. And thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you to Michael for presenting today.
Thank you.
Also, Daphne working in the background. We really appreciate it. And we wish you all a good day, wherever you are in the world. And bye-bye with this.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.